Welcome to the Answers for Elders radio show. Meet the trusted experts who will give you straight answers and will help guide you on the path of later life care. Now, here's your host, founder, caregiver, and CEO, Suzanne Newman.
And welcome back to Answers for Elders Radio Network on behalf of the Vitality Revolution, sponsored by Humana. And we are here with Lori Hudson, and she's with Hudson Insurance Solutions.com. And Lori is did I get that right? You're looking at me. Yeah. I want to make sure. I don't know why I always get your website all screwed up. So I want to make sure that we get that right. Yeah. I am very interested because one of the things that you said us as far as what you wanted to talk about in spiritual wellness is something that's probably so obvious to so many of us, but we don't necessarily think about it as spiritual wellness. And that is our connection to people, and specifically those that are intimate connectors, such as relationships. The thing that you brought up, which I thought was really interesting, is that there's a lot of people over the age of 60 that may have lost a spouse in one way or the other. And now they're in a time in their life where, am I going to not, I don't even know, they may have been, haven't dated in 50 years, right? There's a lot of things are different. And certainly, there's this whole idea of why would they want to have that spiritual connection with someone else? It's the core need of everyone to have that spiritual connection, that person that we feel is our mate. How do you define it, Lori?
It is. I agree with that. And so nice to be here.
Yes, you. It's nice to have you here as well.
When the people that I work with, the senior community, there's the people that are dealing with loss of a spouse, but then there's also quite a few long-term marriages that fall apart, or they grow apart, or people that getting divorced at over 60 and they've been married forever, and that opens up a set of issues for people as well. And I think that if you've had a connection, if you lost your loved one, your partner, the love of your life, you're going through a set of emotional issues with connecting with somebody else.
Yeah.
I dealt with that with some of my friends, with my clients, but then there's also the people, especially people that have been in a really tough relationship. They get divorced and they're kind of bitter or afraid, that they're going to get hurt again.
Or they feel it's like, I'm probably telling a story I shouldn't be telling, but my brother-in-law, he's in his 60s, and he finally met this wonderful woman, and he was single after a really difficult marriage, and he was married for 25 years, right? And then all of a sudden, he kept looking for that connection, but he didn't necessarily have the tools to find that right person. It was like there was all these old patterns that were coming up, but he had this need, and I think to connect, and I applaud him for that. And he finally, I think, took the time for himself to kind of figure out who he was. And then it was like, we talk about spiritual wellness, know thyself. I've had teachers tell me that we only have one relationship in our life, and that's ours with ourselves. And everyone that we come in contact with is a reflection of who we are. So if we have a lot of conflicting situations, that's, again, pulling it back in. And I agree with that. I agree the fact that the more and more that we honor ourselves and know thyself and stay true to our core values in spiritual wellness, I think that's one of the things that can make us most successful in relationships. How do you feel about that?
I completely agree with that. And I think that, when I was putting my notes together, the first one was confidence. We can have you have to figure yourself out. And find some strategies to gain your confidence in yourself before you can go out there.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we'll discount our own qualities. And so confidence can be a real issue, confidence in ourselves, and then also confidence in the fact that opening up our world, that yes, there could be somebody.
Yeah. Yeah. And confidence, again, comes back to that connection of knowing who you are and feeling good about who you are. It's the feeling the freedom to be who you are, to be authentic and to be real. And I think that's one of the things that maybe people don't necessarily put their own self out front. Would you find that that's the case?
Yes, I really do feel that way.
You try to be somebody you're not, and then you get so you've got number 2 here, which really goes into that, and that's setting, being clear intentions. It's setting that intention that this is who, this is why I'm here. Is that right?
It is. And again, like you're saying, not trying to be who we think people want us to be, just being ourselves and getting really clear on our intentions, and maybe writing out the qualities that we want. And I kind of joke about when I met my husband, and I was in my early 40s, but I had been around the block a couple of times and had some not so great relationships. And I sat down and I wrote a list of all of the qualities that I was looking for. And man, it was less than 3 months later that I met him. And I kind of joke that one of the things I left off of the list is an excellent cook. And that is the only thing about him, is he cannot cook. So I kind of joke about that I left that off my list. But, I think putting that list together really gets our mindset there.
Absolutely. And I think too, it's not to settle. I think a lot of us, we tend to think that, well, I'm not, I have a weight issue, right? And I remember when I started the whole online dating thing, I just went this one time, and it was like the one thing I thought, well, I had this thing in my mind, nobody's going to like me because I'm overweight. And it was like, my husband doesn't even see my weight. He doesn't even think about it. I mean, he sees other faults in me, trust me. But the thing is, that was the thing that was my bugaboo. It's like, nobody's going to care about, me because of my weight. And that's crazy. It's like, there are quality people out there, and there are people that are, that see into your soul. And that's that spiritual connection. And I think the more and more that we are clear in who we are, and we emanate that, obviously that comes back. Is that correct?
Yeah, it is correct. And again, if you've got yourself, confident in yourself, you're setting that intention, it opens you up to see things that you may not see otherwise.
Right.
So you might pass by a great opportunity to meet someone because of, these other issues of not recognizing it, or our lack of confidence in ourselves. And we all have that. And so many women, we have body issues, and so many men don't really, it's not their focus, which we think it is, but.
Well, and I think too that, there are men out there that say, or women that have a visual agenda, and that's all they are. I mean, that's all they have. If that's the case, and it's okay, you're just not a fit, right? It's not the kind of it doesn't
be with.
What's that?
Oh, I'm sorry. I just said that's not the kind of person you want to be with.
No, exactly. And so that's the thing I think that is important, but it also goes into, which I really want to touch on. And again, I would love to put this list on our website. So if you get an opportunity to do that, let's do that. Tell us a little bit about realistic expectations.
Oh, realistic. Well, I think, again, setting those intentions out there, but I have a girlfriend who, she's been doing the online dating. She's in her late 70s. And I think it's been, since I've known her, almost 20 years, she's been doing online dating. And she will, she goes out with somebody and they seem to be a really nice guy, and she doesn't like the way they dress, their shoes. She had one that he just had the most horrendous looking shoes. And, we really have to get over those kinds of unrealistic expectations to find the perfect person. I think, again, putting those qualities down on paper, really thinking about those qualities, but then there's compromise. You have to be thinking about that you're not going to find the absolute perfect person. It's just
right. Right. And I think that's the thing, that the more and more that we can be understanding, and I think a lot of times having realistic expectations is, who is our proper mate? Is it somebody your own age or close to your own age? A lot of times when we see people that are with extremely, age difference, there's totally different experiences that we've shared. It's much more difficult to find equal ground. And I think that's the thing. I think being realistic and having someone that is compatible with your life, that can share life experiences with you, that's the piece that I think is exciting, that, you can share things together.
I really agree with that. And I think it kind of brings into the next, one of the things on my list about online dating and safety first, is that if they're the perfect person, chances are, it's a scam, or it could be a scam. So you have to look at that too. If they come across too perfect, then you kind of have to wonder, because none of us are perfect.
No.
So, you have to really be cautious, especially if you're online dating, that you're meeting in a public place, that you're really taking your time to get to know that person. And, and of course, and you can say it over and over again, but if they're trying to get you to give them money, then.
Yeah, exactly.
But there's so many women that, well, and men, I guess, but a lot of women who get sucked into that because they're lonely. They really want that person, and they come across so perfect.
Well, and I think it goes right back to doing your own personal inventory, because again, if you're having a difficult dynamic, or that you should have a partnership of equals. That is what is a spiritual connection. You may be in different places in the world, you have different strengths, but you're a partnership. And I think that's the key that everyone should want to achieve. And Lori, thank you so much for bringing this topic. I think it's an important topic that we talk about, and I'd love to address this again sometime.
Oh, I really appreciate it. And just make sure you take your time when you're getting to know these people.
And so Lori Hudson, she is our favorite Humana rep, as well as she represents many other insurance type programs for Medicare supplemental programs and Advantage programs. And you can reach her at Hudson, HUTSON, insurancesolutions.com. We at Answers for Elders thank you for listening. Did you know that you can discover hundreds of podcasts in our library on senior care? So visit our website and discover our decision guides that will help you also navigate decision making. Find us at answersforelders.com.